shock women into uncontrolled hysteria.
What's going on, everyone? Great talent here, and today we're going to talk about Frankenstein from 1931 in this episode of Rose Tinted Theater. So this is the second movie in I have the 8 classic essential monsters, Universal Monsters collection. This is the second in the chronology. I haven't seen this movie, like Dracula, I haven't seen this movie in years. And does it hold up well? I mean, yes and no in certain regards, just like Dracula. You know, the special effects, there really was none. I mean, very little back in 1931. But was it as immersive and engrossing as my Dracula, rewatch? Not as much. But it's still a classic. It's still a timeless classic. Don't get me wrong there. The Frankenstein movie is a little more not as slow-paced and intentional, nor as immersive as Dracula, but it kind of has a faster tempo, jumps around a lot, and which is fine, but it just kind of, it starts off really, really good, very intriguing. Then you get the Dr. Frankenstein trying to create life in this, these cadavers, these corpses. That's the whole story of Frankenstein. But it then, after he does succeed in that, and after he does succeed, it kind of like takes a little bit of a lull, and then it kind of gets a little tame, and then until the end, until the final climax, with about like the final 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, where it kind of just reaches its penultimate climax, and then just you're on the edge of your seat. You're like, holy shit, like what's gonna happen? It's very intense, the last few minutes of the movie. But from the start, I mean, it just takes place I think it takes place in like Germany or a subsection of Germany. Yeah, they were like using German terms here and there. The story goes Dr. Frankenstein is like this mad scientist. He tries to create a life within this lifeless corpse. He collects the cadavers and just reanimates a corpse. Tries to play God, and the whole theme of the movie, what's interesting is more the message of the movie rather than the actual movie as a whole itself. The message is, when you play God, or you think you're playing God, the euphoria that you get from succeeding at such a feat of an immortal status, it does not come without its consequences. And I'm not going to spoil anything. Granted, the movie's 90 years old, and I don't think I can spoil anything at this point, but you'll see how it unfolds if you ever watch it. But with that being said, I think that it's safe to say that Frankenstein is still a classic. Boris Karloff plays the monster, Frankenstein's monster, and there's a lot of misconceptions there where people think Frankenstein, the monster's name is Frankenstein, but no, it's actually Dr. Frankenstein, and the monster is just a monster. And what I found interesting, though, about the 1931 rendition of Frankenstein, based on I think it's based on the Mary Shelley novel, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the Shelley novels back in the 1800s, I think that the whole aspect that it tries to, the scope that Boris Karloff's character is playing is pretty wide, because he's not talking, he's just a tall, lanky monster. And what I found most interesting is that he didn't even want to be credited, or maybe it was a plan by the movie studio. They didn't credit him for playing the monster. Maybe it was like a mysterious thing, because in the opening credits, it says the monster played by ... So maybe that was a little added layer of horror or suspense or thrill. But anyway, it worked. I mean, Boris Karloff is a good character actor. He's was a phenomenal character actor. He played Frankenstein the Mummy, which is next in my queue. That's next in my hit list, the 1932 version of The Mummy. But so that'll be next. But no, I really, the movie I watched the Frankenstein movie here in black, and it's black and white. I watched the Blu-ray version. It was a little bit high scale, upscaling. But how much can you upscale in the 1931 movie? It's actually coming out in 4K in a couple of months too. And believe it or not, I don't know how you can make a movie made in the 30s in 4K and make it look like a movie that came out today. I don't think that's possible. Maybe you can clear up the audio a little bit. And also with the audio is still, I mean, granted, movies just started having sound in 1931, like a couple of years prior. And again, the sound isn't great. Even on the Blu-ray, it's sounding a little muffled here and there. But again, sound was new at this point. It was just in its inception. But yeah, no, like I said before, the movie is still great. The only, like I said, it has that middle section. Like the first 20 minutes is like you're in it. You're just immersed. The middle act, the second act, I want to say, it's like you're a lull. You're like, all right, because after that, Frankenstein, kind of the monster just kind of wanders off. Then you have to deal with the wedding of Dr. Frankenstein. It's like, all right, so this movie turned into like a sitcom or a rom-com or something like that, or a drama or a soap opera rather. And then it just kind of all comes together in the end somehow. But if I had to score Frankenstein on a scale of 1 to 10, unfortunately, I can't go as high as Dracula, because Dracula, I just adore that movie almost to a near perfection T. But Frankenstein, though, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's still a good movie. Just shy of greatness. If the second act was a little bit stronger in its focus and assertion, I think it would have been higher. But Boris Karloff delivers an astounding performance as the monster, Frankenstein's monster. Dr. Frankenstein himself delivered a phenomenally eerie performance as the mad scientist. And yeah, so with that being said, that is my micro Rose Tinted Theater review and recall of Frankenstein 1931 by Universal Studios. Next up, like I said, will be The Mummy. And I hope you guys stick around for that. Don't forget to drop a like and a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by.